Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 154, being recorded on the 26th of September 2018. My name is Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
Heyo!
Colin Crompton.
Hello, everybody.
And returning, rotating chair, friend of the show, Holly Fellmeth.
Yay.
Hey, everybody.
Holly's back again.
Thanks.
Which is awesome. And hopefully, we're going to have Holly on more episodes in the future on a slightly more regular basis, which is pretty awesome. I think we're aiming for once a month-ish, but we see how it goes.
Ish, yeah.
We see how life and everything else ends up, but yeah.
We now have 3 time zones to deal with when it comes to our scheduling. So just imagine if we actually added more to this. It's just
mine barely counts. Don't worry about mine too much.
More time zones, more fun. That's what they say, right? Today's show, it's same structure as what we've been kicking off, really. So we're going to start with some content provider, that weird game show that I made up, where the players, the co-hosts of the show, play for points to which they can then do their own exclusive episode in the future. And our main feature for this week is all about Nintendo Switch Online, the new Nintendo Online service. What we think about it, the good, the bad, what we would like to see from it in the future, and just talking about our memories and experiences from previous Nintendo games which have been online, because obviously that is a thing which has happened before. It's not just now Nintendo has started doing things with online. And so we can see where they've come from, how they've evolved, and where they can go in the future. But let's start off. A slight last-minute change to the theme here, but today's episode of Content Provider is Playtime. And this is going to be a slightly different rule set to normal. Normally, I give you 4 answers, 4 responses, and one of them's correct.
Okay. Let me guess. You're going to ask us to submit our favorite fan art of Bowsette or whatever that is. Whatever that is. Has everybody saw that?
You were confused with the title of Playtime, but that is not the direction I was going with that one.
No. All I know is it's just the internet is really just once again does not disappoint me in how weird it is, and I'm assuming everybody's seen those fan arts.
Nope.
Oh, you are a lucky soul.
I saw one.
I saw one where they took Ridley took the little crown thing, and it just was this weird monstrosity where I'm just like, okay, I don't need to see that anymore. Although I did see someone, what was it? They did a one with Bowser and Pikachu, and I was like, this needs to be canon. Actually, I'm going to actually I will show it to you on here.
It's not what you're thinking of, Colin.
No. It's really adorable.
Because you've not seen any of this.
No.
What the heck you guys want to know?
No, here it is. Here it is. So, yeah, see it?
There we go. Oop.
Yeah, nobody can see it, but yeah, it's adorable, isn't it? Look at it. It's just a Pikachu wearing basically like Bowser has its little fur coat. It's adorable.
Pikachu has skinned Bowser and is now wearing him. What is this?
And what does that have to do with Bowsette?
Well, because
may not be a
everybody decided to do their own fan art of like, oh, what if this was what if Pikachu had this, or what? Like again, it all started with the whole Nabbit / Peachette type of thing from New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and apparently there's people out there demanding NCL and Nintendo of America to actually make Bowsette actually a playable character, and I'm like, no, don't do this. Don't do this, internet.
I want to do it.
No, I don't think there's too much worry whether Nintendo's going to take this seriously or not.
I shouldn't think so.
Yeah, I think they'll be having their hands pressed firmly against their ears currently, going la la la.
No, it's like, oh wow, they're getting really excited for New Super Mario Bros. U. Let's check. Like, oh dear God, what is this?
Yeah, let's kick off with a little bit of content provider. And so the way it's going to work this week is you guys are going to be guessing. And so I'm going to be demanding quick responses to this one because it could be looked up.
Okay.
The closest answer you can get to of how long I have played certain games on the Switch.
Oh, jeez.
How could we possibly look this up?
No.
Well,
okay, here's my Switch. I'm going to basically. I'm putting it. It's right there.
Oh, that's how.
But the
I don't
thing
even
is,
have my Switch with me.
I can see you, lock eyes of all of you. But yeah, it's be quick responses, and there's no particular order. But once the three of you have said your number, and you only get one attempt each, the closest one wins. And if I think too long has occurred, I will stop that, and then whoever has answered, it's up to them.
So is this kind of like Price is Right rules, where if I go over?
Correct.
Okay.
So you all have to answer in the allotted time, but you don't have any particular order. So we'll see how well this goes or not. So we'll start off with Mario plus Rabbids.
We just shout whatever number.
Shout your number.
I'm gonna say 65 hours, Bob.
Okay. Any other takers?
Somebody say 1 hour. Somebody say 1 hour, please.
I was
1 hour,
I'll be
and then
quick.
Colin can say 2 hours.
I was going to throw in 50, but
All right, Colin is 50. Holly, any response for you quickly?
Oh, 45.
45. And Holly gets the point.
Oh,
The right answer is 40.
oh,
wow.
Woo!
Moving on. So the guest has a point. Moving on, Bayonetta 2.
oh.
I'm gonna say 20 hours.
20 hours. What
25.
else we got? 25 from Colin.
Oh, you just crap. You're just trying to do.
15.
And 15 for Holly. All very similar. All pretty close. However, Colin, did you say 25 points? Or 25 hours?
25 points? I'll take 25 points.
No, you won because it was exactly 25 hours.
Oh wow. We're moving closer to that Monster Hunter themed episode that you want.
Isn't that like, so she don't warrant 2 points?
It probably would if I stipulated in advance. But seeing as you suggested it, I think it has to just be 1 point. That'll be favoritism, Colin. I can't be done. Next game though, it's a big one. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh.
120.
120, okay.
Oh, jeez.
That's probably way over.
Can I at least ask if you've beaten it?
What, the main game?
Yeah, or is that cheating?
I would say it's cheating at this point, so I'm not going to answer.
Okay, because I don't remember. What did Holly say?
120.
120.
I'm going to say.
Don't laugh at me like that. I already know I got it wrong.
I'm going to say 85.
85. And yourself, Colin?
I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to say 100.
Solid.
You're going to say 100? Well, Holly is the closest with 120. The real answer is 155. Recently also beat the expansion.
Oh.
Which is the first time I've mentioned on the podcast.
Now, wait, how long is that? Well, are you going to answer that?
Well, I can answer it now.
No, how long? No, how long does it take to beat the expansion? I mean,
the expansion took me about 25 hours, according to.
Oh, okay, because everybody was saying like, "Oh, this is a 50-hour expansion," but then when I found out it was like 15, 25, I'm like, "Okay, I can do that." It just
it's still a lot of game for your money.
I still haven't beaten Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I know, shame me. I still need to get to it.
I haven't even played it yet.
Well, we are in the same boat, Colin. We are in the same boat.
There we go.
Yeah, no biggie. I mean, that's a huge time commitment.
It's the reason why I'm kind of like scared off from everybody asks me to like, hey, play Persona 5, and then I look on there, I'm like, oh, that's like 125-hour-ish like commitment, and I've heard it's a good game, a really, really good game for my friends. It just, they said that there's a part in that game where it just stalls. So,
okay, we up ready for the next question?
Yes.
Game.
What are we bidding on?
Well, this is an interesting one because it's a game listeners of the show and I'm a big fan of
Here we go.
Game is
Twisted Fusion.
no arms is the game.
Oh, bloody arms.
Bloody arms.
Bloody Arms. That's Bloody Arms.
How long can a man play arms?
No more than 10 minutes.
370.
370.
Oh wow. I'm gonna say 90.
90 for Harrison. And yourself, Colin?
I couldn't stand it for more than 30 minutes, so
30 hours for you, or?
I'm going to say 100.
100 hours.
I know you love it.
I thought it was kind of closer to your Splatoon 2 playtime. That's why the extravagant number for me.
We don't want to let out any secrets. However, Colin, do you say 100?
I do.
The correct answer was 125, which makes you the closest.
Jeez, that is a lot of arms.
That is a lot of arms.
Too much arms.
And if you're keeping count at home, in terms of episode points today, Colin currently has 2. Holly currently has 2. So we've got 4 questions down, so we've got 3 more to go. The next is Mario Kart 8.
Ooh.
85.
Okay. Is that 85?
I should check my friend list more often.
I'm gonna say 85. I'm gonna go 86. Sorry, Holly.
Jeez. Ooh.
Overlay.
What's it for you, Colin?
50.
50 for Colin.
Yeah, I'm going low.
Well, Colin, you did not get this point. Holly.
Oh, you tease.
You said 85, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Harrison, you said 86?
Yeah. You're telling me she hit it right in the money?
Not right on the money. But the correct answer is 80 hours. So Holly is the closest.
Oh, wait. I thought
You said 86.
I thought we were doing like not going over. Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, never mind.
Wait.
Wouldn't that mean no? Wouldn't
What's
that mean
his number?
It's
no? Wouldn't that? I'm just saying because we went over like Price is Right rules. It's like, oh, you went over the number, so you went over. Never mind. Never mind.
Not a matter of going over, but yes, you can wait for someone to put their number in and then do the next closest one if you choose to.
I know that, but I was thinking like, oh wow, like when you mentioned 80, I'm like, well, wouldn't that technically Colin would get that because he did not go over and he was the closest.
I'm not lucky.
My apologies on that front.
And it happened. Whatever. It's all good.
Okay.
There's no prizes for me to win here aside from just get
you've already got one banked.
I know, I already got one down.
Right.
Which is pretty good. So we've got 3 more left. 3 interesting games.
I thought you said that last time.
Yeah.
Did I say that last time?
You did.
Sorry.
Did.
There are 2 more left.
After this one. There's 3 more
forget
left.
that last one. There's 2 more left. That last one didn't exist. Zelda Breath of the Wild.
You didn't play us on Wii U, did you?
No, just Switch.
350.
Okay, Harrison says 350.
Yeah, I'm going to say 250.
Ooh, Colin says 350. Okay.
I'm going to say 320.
320? The real answer is 265. So, Colin,
I'm
you and
terrible.
Holly have 3 points again, or equaling in points at least.
I'm terrible at this so much.
Oh,
So
sorry.
that's why you have an odd number of questions. Here we go. The last question.
There's not 3 to go. I'm shocked.
Seeing as it's 2 as well, and it is the order of the games here. The last one on my list is Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate.
Oh, okay.
50.
Okay. 50 from Harrison.
25.
25 from Harley.
I'm going to say 40.
40.
Come up aiming high, though.
That is pretty high for me. But did you know I was playing this game?
No.
No. Well, the correct answer is exactly 25, at least according to the Switch counter I'm using. So Holly gets the point, which puts you in the lead, which means as technically a guest of this show, at the end of the episode, you get to choose who to give your points to. And you can also have the chance to double that into 2 points. That's entirely up to you. So, Harrison, Colin, be nice to Holly.
Aren't we all?
At the end of the episode, he will be giving a point to one of you. That's all I'm saying. It can't be split into 2. But anyway,
We'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Keeps things interesting, at least. So that's Content Provider. I hope you enjoy. What people were playing at was for the chance to give the theme and to lead an exclusive podcast we do once a month, which is exclusive for Patreon backers. If you want to check out more about that, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. So now let's get on to the main feature for tonight's show. So Nintendo Switch Online launched last week, or is it a couple weeks now?
2 weeks ago.
Last week. Actually, I think it was Tuesday of last week.
Tuesday of last week. Thank you, Harrison. So the first question I want to quickly ask, is this something we've at least tried, or have we all jumped in and bought the thing, or are we not jumping onto this?
I have. It gave me another reason why. Let's say that ice hockey is actually technically pretty fun, and let's just say Mario Brothers has not aged well as far as an arcade game.
That's a hot take. So it sounds like you've jumped into the full subscription, have you, Harrison?
Yes, I'm still on the free trial until I think midnight tonight here in the States. So I got to switch over to $20, and I don't know. I was like trying. I felt like with the free trial, I was gonna try and like cheat the system in some way where I'm like, oh, if I can just like stretch this out,
reset the clock.
Yeah, well, no, nothing like that.
You do that.
Something of that like. But no, I tonight I will be getting to the full basically the full like 1 year subscription for $20. And
well, Harrison, if you let the trial end, I think it'll automatically put you at just 1 month.
If you actually
non-renewable.
Well, yeah, if you go to the settings though and you turn that off. That was the first thing I did when
then
I actually
you can just renew it yourself for 20.
Yeah, which I'm thinking. Well, I'm just trying to think like it will like will I be able to like, okay, it's ending here, I just bought my month right now, will it just automatically switch over, or will it just like will that subscription basically just take over right then and there? I'm just not sure. So
yeah.
So let's see, the Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, it did launch the the 19th, I guess. 18th. Thank you. That was one around there, but I have done it, and there's a lot for me to say and get unfolded this. All I know is that my Zelda Breath of the Wild save is safe in the cloud for now.
It's safe.
It is safe. It's secret, and it's safe.
What happens? Okay, what happens if you like have a gap? I guess it just.
What do you mean?
Does it delete your save?
Are you
between your trial and your like purchase of a year thing?
Oh, okay.
Does it delete your save out of the cloud like right off the bat? Or
you no longer have the rights to this.
No. There was some controversy, I think, leading up to it because what happened was, here's the thing. Okay, when I think the word was that if your subscription ended, your files on the cloud were gone. There was no grace period.
Okay.
Now, whereas with Sony, they have like a 6-month grace period, and I believe with Microsoft, it's like but whereas with a grace period as in your saves are fine. It just you're just not part of the subscription. Now, Microsoft, it's like, hey, if you aren't subscribed to their with like Live and like their Gold membership, it's there forever. It's there until because Microsoft has all the computing power it seems like the world when it comes to it.
World, yeah.
But according to an interview with IGN, I just recently read before Showtime is, yes, Nintendo will keep your cloud saves up to 6 months after your online subscription ends.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
So you got plenty of time to resubscribe or whatever you need to do.
Yes, essentially. Even though, but what's everybody say about do you believe that there should be a grace period for 6 months, or do you believe that if your subscription ends, it should just be in the cloud forever?
I feel like the grace period is fair because if case a situation where say you're paying it monthly, but you just don't happen to have the funds to pay it for that month, and you lapse on something or whatever, and it's like, oh, I didn't have the money for it, and your saves are gone, that would be a huge bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the bummer part is, to add to the story, I mean, and I agree, but it's only a real bummer if you need the saves, as in,
of course,
you don't lose them from your Switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's then
Yeah.
if your payment lapses and you break your Switch before you start paying again, that's the only point it becomes a problem.
Right.
But so it's, I would never champion for, oh no, they should cut it off immediately. So it's good to hear that they are going to have that 6 months grace period.
Okay, and my stance though on the fact of like putting like cloud saves like into a paywall is very indifferent. I understand that you have to pay for servers and stuff on there, but I feel like that it should do kind of a service where it's like, if you're not with a subscription service, there's a way to still do some cloud service, like cloud saves. But if you want more space, you have to subscribe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I don't personally mind it too much being behind a paywall. I think it's a fair price for what they're asking.
It is, and I think that's what. Well, I mean, we'll get more into like what we like and dislike on there. I mean, my initial thought, basically going through it, is like I said. Besides, wow, realizing that some NES games aren't as good anymore. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I will say this: it's definitely got my love of. I really dig the hell out of Balloon Fight more and more, even though the physics are a little bit off with the game.
Mm.
So.
It's fun to play together, so that's a good one for online play for sure.
Yeah,
it's the only one that worked out halfway decent, actually, my first try, because I was experiencing really bad lag right off the bat. Balloon Fight worked okay. Tecmo Bowl was okay. Bowl was okay, just because of the nature of that game, but anything else that my friend and I tried to play on the first night was lagging like crazy. I think it's gotten a little better, though. In the one other experience, so that's a positive thing. Has anybody else had any lag problems?
I have not been able to do that because most of my friends who are playing something else aren't online.
Oh.
And I have a lot of friends. I don't know. They're just sometimes
I thought he was running out of me and Lewis. I was like, oh no.
Because I've not actually played the NES games online yet. I have continued to play a lot of Nintendo Online games,
right?
Since the paywall's gone up.
I've daddied in the NES stuff, but I haven't dove in.
Yeah, well, I've played a bit here and there, but it's always been like.
When you were playing online, were you just playing more of Splatoon 2 because there was a Splatfest this past weekend, wasn't there?
I might have dabbled.
What do you think of the new? Okay,
Splatfest?
I don't want to get too off on this. What do you think of the new Splatfest format?
The new rules? Well, I think it's quite relevant. We're talking about a Nintendo Online game here, and this was the first Splatfest since the new service, as it were. But yeah, I like the new rules. And
I've heard people have been like getting some problems with the they're been getting in and out of connections with matches. But I will, that's just me taking a small sample size from Twitter, of course. So, but I did hear though with the Splatfest changes, whatever, it does give you the opportunity of like, hey, you're good with one squad to help out like the team that you chose in the Splatfest, so you're able to kind of stick with them for a while, as opposed to just like, oh, they're just gone.
Yeah, and the other handy thing with the new rules is you can just jump in with 2 people online and form a part of a normal 4-man team, whereas your only option,
or even
originally,
even if you only have 3 people,
correct?
You can do it that way. That is really nice. Yeah, team mode before, like you had to have a team of 4. So you'd sit there waiting and desperately getting on social media and being like, please, someone come and join us. And then all at once you've got Ed Lewis is like laughing over there because we had this problem happen once. Remember that, Lewis?
Oh,
I would always do that for I would always do that for Salmon Run. I'm just like, come on, does anybody want to join this? And I need to get back on it again because Salmon Run is fun.
Salmon Run is fun.
Salmon Run's always had that advantage, though, where you can get together with any number of friends between, a team of 1 to 4. And then you can recruit somebody. So that was always really nice about Salmon Run. So now finally that kind of applies to the Splatfests too. So that's really nice.
Yeah, and I think the other cool thing about the new rules, and it's admittedly going via a very small sample base because there's just been one of them so far. But previous Splatfests have always done a similar pattern in terms of the results, whereas you would have the more popular team, and then the least popular team would win both solo and team games.
Yeah, and I think what was it? They're just trying to make sure, yes, you're gonna have that one team that's gonna be that the most popular that picks what side, and but I don't know. It always just feels like that just focus that just figures into something way more it figures way more into the outcome than it should be.
Yeah, well, it's oddly like the opposite. So whatever wasn't the most popular wins on wins, as it were, because there's two of those compared to the popularity. But from the one we've had with the new rules, it was a landslide. So it was
Modern
and retro.
Versus retro.
And retro. What was it now?
I heard that Modern won.
It was.
I haven't actually looked.
So yeah, Modern won by a landslide. So popularity and the normal and pro modes now, which I don't remember ever seeing. So if we're going to get more varied results, that will be cool. But again, it's quite hard to tell with just the one. It could be all landslides now, which would be no better. But no, it was fun.
Lewis,
it was different at least.
Lewis, did you ever get any 10 times or even 100 times battles?
I had
never
one
got
10
that.
times battle.
Oh, I didn't get a single one of even 10 times.
Yeah, I only had the one of them. But it's was
the pressure there?
It was, but I wish there was a bit more. Like there wasn't really they didn't necessarily change up the music or have extra lights, which I was kind of expecting them to be just up the ante a bit. And it did put the pressure on because it flags up at the beginning. But I kind of wanted just some sort of image of it being there as you were playing through. But to be fair, that was a fairly intense match anyway. But most Splatoon matches are, to be fair.
Wait, did you win it or not?
I don't think I did win that one.
What team were you on?
So I was on Team Retro.
Ooh.
So yeah, I didn't win. Ironically, though, I was going for my usual tactic of I'll pick the least popular team because they'll be the winners. But it didn't work out that way.
Has that ever worked for you?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's worked almost every time previously.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But the tricky thing would
friend.
be is guessing which would be the most popular, because obviously that's not a guarantee before it begins.
True.
I have a friend who can predict. She has
really?
a fail-proof. No, it's not really fail-proof.
I was gonna say,
This time she felt fail-proof though. Definitely not 100%.
No.
This time she was pretty confident that Modern would win because Marina hasn't won a Splatfest in 4 Splatfests or something until now. She's like, it's rigged. They've got to give Marina a win here because Pearl keeps winning them.
I just want to point out to the audience that none of this means anything to me.
It's a conspiracy theory.
I have no idea what these people are talking about.
So in terms of Squid or Kid, Colin is Kid. I don't know.
So Colin,
It was 28 last time I checked.
So what have you been playing online since this has dropped? Have you been playing anything online on your Switch?
With me?
Yeah.
Predominantly Monster Hunter, which I've had 0 issues with. It's been a silky smooth transition. Absolutely.
So I assume it's just remained the same, essentially.
Yeah, I have noticed that the player base has kind of dropped. I will say that much.
That's the thing I'm realizing. I want to add to this is, do you think Nintendo has been... Do you feel like they've been not doing a really good job advertising this to some people when it comes to it?
Not. No, yeah, I know.
I agree.
Because there's going to be some kids out there that have been playing. That was the one thing I was worried about Splatoon's, the amount of people playing the game online is these kids who really had the privilege of playing this for free for a year and a half on their Switches, and then next thing you know, they're like, oh, you have to pay $20 to do this, and part of me is thinking do like, well, these are kids that probably they get allowances and stuff, whatever, but they'll have like finances and stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to use that allowance to buy a Nintendo Online pass.
Spent on V-Bucks.
But I think like I don't know. It's just like when you go online. Like I figured, okay, when Switch Online first came on, I was like, okay, I'm getting a notification or something to get this started. But you have to go to the eShop, and we all knowing how the eShop. I like how minimalistic it is, but it has to get everything done with its like categorization because everything gets buried.
Like software store, I've seen for a while. The eShop, it's just a mess right now. It really is. They need to get more categories in.
They do have some categories now, though. I don't know when the last time you checked.
Yeah, but we can't we still can't search by demos and things like. I mean, these are just little. I mean, yes, it's still accessible to find something like, hey, if I type in like say,
if
Mario
you
the
know
Rabbit,
for it's great. If you just want to browse, it hides so many gems away from you. It really does.
But yeah, I just don't I feel like it hasn't been advertised as well. I mean, yes, if you go outside the gamer bubble that we are on, like in social media, you're gonna get some people like, well, what is this? Why can't I play online? And I maybe that's just me just overthinking a little bit, but I just hope that's not the case for some kids.
Yeah, no, I think you might have a point there, Harrison, because I said, I mean, player base have also dropped. I'd be interested to see the player base, like the graph for Splatoon 2. Because I'm pretty sure it must have gone down, but I like to see what that curve looks like.
Yeah, just how much has it gone down?
Exactly, yeah. Fairly hefty, I would have thought, but yeah.
There's a lot of negativity toward Nintendo Online.
Oh yeah, we'll get to the dislike when it comes to. I mean, it's just well, let's just say price is really what's keeping me there. But again, I'll get to that later. But you were saying about how Monster Hunter, right, Colin?
Right. Yep. Well, I was also just basically thinking because I believe Fortnite doesn't require the
because it's a free
service. I was kind of wondering if Nintendo, why don't they just keep the games that are already free to play online, online.
Like which ones?
Well, like any game that was online before the service started.
Well, look at that. Well, that's the thing for that. Like with Fortnite, though, is that I don't think that's the case with like PS4 or even Xbox. I believe, again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong about this, but since it's a free-to-play game, all you really need is just an internet connection. Right. And I feel like a subscription service would basically, a subscription service itself would just be like, wait, I'm paying for this just to. That's what I'm getting at. You're paying for the service.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
No, whereas I feel like that's different though when you're comparing to like Monster Hunter or even Splatoon 2.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, I'd say.
Yeah. On this note, actually, I was thinking like the other night, I haven't had a whole lot of problems with Nintendo's online service. Even before it came out when there was so much negativity and whatnot, I haven't had any huge problems. But I was thinking the other night, one of the biggest problems that it does have is that like Nintendo just does not have a whole lot of really compelling online games on the Switch right now.
Agreed.
I mean, what do people really want to play online right now? Splatoon 2, Monster Hunter for some of us.
But...
Well, there is a still like here's the thing with ARMS though. There was a Kotaku article about this months back about how there's people who like still I wouldn't say keeping it alive, like competitively keeping it alive. So and it's not to say the game didn't bomb. I mean, as far as an original IP, it did what it needed to do. Yeah, well, it did what it needed to do. Well, the game did what it needed to do. Here's that. Well, the game did what it needed to do as far as like, okay, new IP, but it didn't do the Splatoon numbers where it just took everything by storm like in Japan. But still, modest success. I mean, not near.
It was an original idea as Splatoon.
Wait, what?
I don't think it's as an original idea as what Splatoon was.
It's an original IP. It's an original IP, though.
But I don't think it captures like Splatoon changed what a shooter is essentially.
Well, I wouldn't say it's revolutionary. It basically breathed a little bit new life into into basically that online into a third person like online experience. Whereas ARMS to me, it's like, hey, what can we do to revive a little bit of a punch out area, but with like springy arms? To me, that's a little bit of different and a neat idea in itself.
Yeah,
I kind of actually agree.
It does seem like ARMS has a more limited audience.
Exactly.
Than Splatoon was. But then again, I would say like the fighting genre is a smaller market than the shooter genre.
Yes,
But
I would agree.
it does seem that even within that like fighting like market share, as it were, like Arms is a very particular kind of fighter, where I feel even though like Splatoon, it's definitely not a traditional shooter by any means.
Yeah, you would say
it
Arms
kind
is
of
more of a niche.
feels like
It's a niche fighter.
The mechanics. Essentially, yeah, but not so much as Arms is. But I think like a point which would be good discussing is because like most of the games which were playable online on the Switch before the service went, online or before it went paid, are pretty much identical to how they are now. But there are a few exceptions which mostly evolve around the Nintendo Switch Online app for smartphones, which before
Mario
was
Kart
exclusively for
Mothers.
Splatoon.
Yeah, Mario Kart and some others have actually been added.
That's right.
Wow.
So, Mario Kart.
I have actually, from
the NES
whatever
games.
Yes.
I will say though, as much as like the beta version of this has been like that app has been trash. They have been saying like I think a couple of the Game Explain guys did say that it actually kind of works now. Yes, it's bizarre how they do it, but it actually works now more than it did with Splatoon. I mean, I haven't personally tried it, so I'll take their word for it. But
I think no matter how well it works, it's not, I don't think it's very user friendly.
It just the idea of an app to have where, like, say, if I was able to check things and all that, the concept there is it's just the execution has just been odd to me, and it makes me think like, okay, they definitely when it came to like hiring people to actually design this, and from what I've hear, when you hear, it's like it feels like this is more catering to the Japanese audience. Not to say that or what this is, and it's not much of a Western feel to it. So, but maybe that's where, because I think somebody was like sharing tweets about every time when they showed tweets about, or Nintendo would show tweets about Nintendo Switch Online, like, hey, you can play like Balloon Fight on this with Nintendo Switch Online. And of course, the replies and the NOA thing would be like, oh, what else is going to be there for blah, 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 underwhelming. And then if you would look, say, to NCL or when it's over in Japan, it's like day and night.
Rude.
They're like, yes!
Not like, no, it's not like, yes, like they're excited. They're not bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see like the library of 20 classic Nintendo games is, as it were, fluffed up. It actually seems quite appealing as a bonus, whereas most people nowadays, at least in the West, maybe that's a bit of a sweeping statement, but it seems like suddenly there's been this like light switch moment where, opposed to the mean classic games, there are these 30-year-old games which no one wants to play anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I did want to touch on the actual Switch Online app, because I think its main problem is just the compatibility with different games.
Yeah.
Because I used it, and no laughing now, children. I used it with Arms the other day, and it's incredibly seamless. Like, so I entered Party Crash, which is just an open for all mode, so it's not friends. And then I had a notification appear on my smartphone. Do you want to, like, you're playing Arms, do you want to use voice chat? And there's just like a yes option. This is without me even actively going into the app. I hit that. It opens up. So it was literally a button. And I could then just lock my phone. And that was it. And then when I left
you can talk to strangers now.
Yeah.
Wait.
One button.
Yeah, like, and that's all it was. I mean, and in Mario Kart, you can now, it's not just friends either. If you're playing online, it will just prompt you on the smartphone app. As again, you shouldn't in theory even need the app open. You get a little push notification. And on your lock screen, you can hit yes, and you're instantly in a live chat with.
It's just a ridiculous idea that you need to have a secondary device to even do it.
Agree, but in terms of like, we're living in this world where we know there's that app. So in terms of that, it's like as good as it could be, I feel. But the main problem is I don't understand why it doesn't just support everything.
Right.
Or there isn't just a generic.
Why is it not just system-wide at this point?
Yeah, or a generic system-wide one to cover things which don't have their own hubs.
Of course.
But if it did just have work in each, I'm personally not too bothered that it is in a part of an app.
It's just you would want. The thing is, like, you would want something like the Pro. Well, one of my main things I really want for Switch Revision is the ability to actually, and this is just in small, but it would go a really nice way for me. Whatever. It's one of those things that just not hinder my purchase of a Switch, because much like in usual Nintendo like a fashion, whatever, it's like, you keep providing me with good experience in games, I'm going to keep buying your products. Yes, I'll be annoyed at the other things right there, but I'll still be vocal. Now, the things that I would really like about this is Bluetooth support for headphones. I have a pair myself right now, and I would really, really like to have that, especially on there. And I know it's in some way capable. Now, it would just really be nice at some point if Nintendo was able to do something in terms of the Pro Controller, where it's like, hey, here's a headphone jack for like a that would go a long way to whatever. And I will say, and my stance on voice chat is, I'm fine with voice chat when I'm with my friends.
Yes,
that is it. I trust me, when the first time I used voice chat when I was playing Counter-Strike a long, long time ago, and they told me to get a certain disease and die, that was like, all right, I'm out.
Actually, that's something I would add to how the app helps. Having all that stuff on a touchscreen, you can incredibly quickly mute other people and yourself, and also block other people.
Ooh.
Just from like a few little taps, like those little glowing bubble heads. If someone's being a bit silly, you just tap them and they're gone.
I like how you just like underplay that. If someone is being really silly, I mean, it's like, hopefully
if they're naughty children, they go
naughty or very racist or something like that. Let's just make sure. It's like, you're gone.
Exactly. Whereas I imagine like doing that with a controller whilst I'm playing wouldn't be very smooth at all.
It'll take an extra 5 seconds.
Jump out of this game to make this operation because I want to block this person or I want to mute this. Whereas that was a very quick, and then I was back in.
I kind of see where you're going with that. I really do. It's. I mean,
I honestly don't think it's strong enough of a selling point for the app. You can mute people slightly faster.
Colin, do you ever use Discord for any game that's not Nintendo? If you do, then you're a hypocrite here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm using Discord for basically everything, and I don't care.
Which is fair enough.
Kind of the ideal way to do it.
It is the ideal way, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, it's got some potential. Again, it definitely needs compatibility with everything.
Yeah. Yes, that's a huge thing. I'm still using Discord, and I'm paying money for the app.
Wait, you're paying money for the app? That's actually what?
As in the Switch service.
Switch service. Yeah.
Oh, Switch service. Sorry, I was thinking like, wait.
You can use that app. Didn't pay.
There's a paid version of the app. That'd be terrible.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, that could be another way of just them handling the subscription. You did buy a new version of the app every year.
Buy new,
it only works with the latest version.
Now, I think again, well, this would. I know we're about to get to say that, like, well, what we would improve about, like, Switch Online. I think one thing I would want to improve, though, like with the app, though, is I want to find a way to actually access my friends list or add people on there. Like, while I'm away when I don't have my Switch, I'm able to be or it's connected with the use of the eShop. I know you can do the same thing on Safari and go to the eShop if you log in your information. I would like that all to be in one thing. It would just be that way. I could be like, oh, I just want to check out my friends list to see who's online. I'm like, oh, Lewis is online right now. I'll rush back. I'm like, oh, I'm walking to the house. I'm gonna.
I will break traffic laws to get home quicker.
So I get pulled over by a cop. Like, sir, why were you going so fast? I need to get back home. I'm about to play arms with my best friend right now. Let me go.
Ball game. Arms.
Arms. You've got arms in this vehicle, sir.
No, he'll probably say, you're armed right now? No, I'm not. Okay.
I'm sure they would understand.
Absolutely.
See, Arms is this fighting game by Nintendo that's on this hybrid handheld called Nintendo Switch.
And then you get the Switch wrist strap just kind of pokes beneath his sleeve.
Jeez.
So yeah, in terms of, like, I imagine So I think ways we'd like to see the service improve. I think, should we start with the kind of the benefits of the system, or the service, as it were? So those NES games, we've got 20 now. Like Nintendo's officially listed what the games will be for the remainder of the year.
Yep.
And I think by the end of the year, we're going to have near 40.
Which is pretty good.
Around that number.
One thing I do like, I do like on the NES menu, though. I did not realize this until I was seeing on Twitter that you actually can move the games and the box art around. I'm like,
Yes.
thank you that I can do that. So
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you can
Just drag and drop them.
Yeah.
although you can't do
How come
you
you
can't
can't
touchscreen. Can't do it on touchscreen. That's unfortunate.
Oh.
That's weird.
I
How come
assume
you
that
can't button map? Do some button mapping to
Ooh,
make
that's actually well.
Super Mario Bros.
It's
a
so
little
you
bit
buy
easier.
those
It's Nintendo.
bundle NES
That's
Well,
controllers.
it's not
They're
just
perfectly
that.
mapped.
But it can be that's the thing. It can be patched. I think that's where like something where, I would say like yes, there's button map. There's things on button mapping. I want that to change because the way I play Super Mario Brothers is that the way I do it's like I don't want it in that order. Whatever they have it set, it's like I want it. But
Yes.
I also, this is just a cosmetic thing. It just feels really weird. Is that when you're playing NES games, all the menu things are still on the screen. I want the option for that to turn off. I know that sounds silly, but it just sounds like when you see, and they mentioned this on MVC last week, where it's like, I forgot, was it Brian O'Connell mentioned, or no, Per Schneider mentioned, like, it's like you go to your relative's house and like they got it out in demo mode and like the channel 4 number is still on the screen.
Yeah, there's definitely some just improvements to the app itself, which would make sense. Yeah, like give us some more just like menu filters. So like we can get rid of the that heads up display part. We can map the controls. But in terms of like what games and how many games we're getting in the service, how do we feel right now in terms of how Nintendo's laid it out? So, which is essentially it is an NES collection, and you've got 20 now. We're going to building in a break. We're going to have about 40 by the end of the year, and we're going to keep on building.
I'm very happy with it, but not being a big NES guy, if it was Super Nintendo, if they announced Super Nintendo support was coming, I would be all over it. All over it. That'd be my dream. But yeah, for me, I think it's a good like proving ground for it. That the system could be good on.
Do you expect Super Nintendo games to come, Colin?
I honestly do.
Okay.
I honestly do. But I don't, not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. The NES will be the focus for the time being.
Yeah. Do we think similar to Colin here? Do you reckon we might get some Super Nintendo games later? And
I feel like down the road, because this entire process, it's a work in process. That's the only thing I can probably describe like Switch Online as it is. Aside from, well, now you're just asking me like what I hope is improved on it. You're saying?
No, in terms of like what games or what sort of games. Do you think they'll keep to NES? Do you reckon they'll expand out? If they do you reckon it'll stay within as it's priced?
I do have a question of whether or not this is like the Netflix system, where certain games they're added, but certain games will disappear. That's what I'm thinking. That's one of my worries. Like, I need to wonder, like, is that say if I get like Super C or even the original Contra, and then like 4 or 5 months down the line, they're like, it's being replaced with Urban Champion. I'm just like, why Nintendo? Why would you do such a hate crime of this sort?
Why would you do this to me?
Yes. They've not. I mean, they've not mentioned it yet. So if they're going to do that, obviously they'll have to mention it at some point. But as far as you're aware, they're currently just going to be adding, which might really kind of explain what this service is more than what it isn't. Which, I'm not sure we will see Super Nintendo coming.
Oh.
Just because I feel they are going to be adding to this, and I feel they're going to get to a point where they're going to think, I think we've got more than enough in terms of what Nintendo thinks value here. Like if we used to charge like $5 a pop for these things, and there's a 70 out there now. I'm not sure they would feel comfortable going, all right, let's start building a Super Nintendo library as well for the same cost per month for everybody.
Yeah,
It just seems like Nintendo. I mean, it's what I would like. I mean, I'd love them to open up all their systems on this thing.
Yeah,
But I don't think they would do that for $20 a year.
Hey,
Especially how much money they've sold with individual like re-releases.
They've
over the
probably.
years.
That's the thing, is that I feel like if they did ever add Super Nintendo, then the odds are okay, actually, that they might actually charge per game. And maybe they'll even let non-online users buy the games as well. And maybe online users can get them for a discount and play them online, something like that to make
the
them
online
feel...
service would become like a VIP membership type deal.
Yeah.
Kind of like PlayStation Plus, that kind of thing. That'd be kind of cool. I can see that.
Yeah. So I personally think that Super Nintendo games are a real possibility.
Absolutely.
That's cool. But you reckon there might be you either pay like individually or some extra fee to get them, or just part of the service?
Yeah.
Wait, are we
Maybe
suggesting?
there'll be options.
Yeah.
Well, are we suggesting that? Well, since I feel like the term virtual console, the name itself is dead when you think about it. When more you think about it, it's just, are you suggesting that aside from having, hey, here's all these games you can have available at your disposal for $20 a year, versus, hey, you can buy Super Mario Brothers for $4 separately and it's yours?
Well, maybe Super Mario World, because we're talking about Super Nintendo games.
Oh, Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo, that's a tier up and whatnot. Like, they'll keep the NES games free and whatnot, but maybe kind of going up console generations, they'll start charging per game, or maybe you can get like a bundle for a discount.
I mean, if they have Chrono Trigger on their service, they're not giving that away for free. That's a huge game.
Well, let me throw this idea out. Well, if Nintendo was to say this time next year, go, we're going to add to this service. It's a new premium option. There's going to be the Super Nintendo collection, or whatever the equivalent is, however they named this NES specifically collection.
Right.
And it is a separate monthly or yearly charge.
Right.
Say it's half the price of what the current one is, but it's additional.
So it's like £3 instead of it being £2 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And for both sets.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of format. So the app's kind of formatted in the same way, but you've got like it starts with 20 Super Nintendo titles, and it keeps growing to its say
Sold.
about. Okay, so that would
sold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay. What do we all think about with given? Okay, we have to have like when we're on the service, that the only known special offers that we have right now, aside from, oh, here's my Nintendo stuff where you can actually print off PDFs of this stuff. I'm like, okay, give me the special. Yeah, give me something that's not like I said last week. It's like, here's a 35% off 3DS and Wii U titles, and I'm like, oh, come on, please, I want some Switch titles. And I will, but I do. Okay, the idea of those NES controllers that we saw from what we discussed briefly last week, I am going to place. Yeah, I'm probably going to buy those. It's a shame that those aren't going to be compatible with, like, say, games outside of Nintendo Entertainment System online.
Yeah, they're lacking buttons, though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, no. Well, there might be exceptions.
I'm just saying, like, the exception being like those older classic games that are separate from there, like, say, the Mega Man, collection, Legacy collection, all that, because
they might be able to patch that in, though.
No, that's what I'm hoping for. Something good to it.
That'd be kind of cool.
Mark my words, I bet Shovel Knight gets it patched in.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that would be. I could easily see that.
Probably one of the few, because I reckon you will have to do a deliberate patch for it. But I reckon it will just be. I reckon it will be a supported controller, in theory, for developers. Yeah. Not many will use it, but I reckon it will be an option. I don't reckon Nintendo will just lock it out.
Well, Shovel Knight's actually a little complicated for an NES controller, if we're still talking about the NES one specifically.
Yeah.
Because there's, especially, okay, so I actually kind of tried using it for whatever the latest expansion was. Was that Spectre Knight?
Ooh.
Spectre of Torment. Yeah. And I realized really quickly, like, oh shoot, there's a lot of like kind of functions and things that you can do in this game that require more complicated button layouts and stuff like that. A Super Nintendo controller, yes, that'll work, but Just saying,
they'll,
like,
they'll
an
make
NES
it work. I'm
controller
telling you, it'll
ain't
be
gonna work.
fiddly. It will involve pressing directions in your buttons and using that select button. But
They do have the shoulder buttons. So there is that extra button real estate, but I don't know about Shovel Knight on the NES controllers. Maybe a Super Nintendo controller if they release that down the road, but
I made the joke last week on the show. What was it? I'm sure you probably saw when I last week I made the joke in the show. It's like, well, if they really want to do it, here's a possible dream of using the GameCube chainsaw controllers is probably out there.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite photoshops when that was released.
The best. That's the best. Greatest control of all time.
I might have to commission that as an art piece. It's a 3D model. Put it in a glass box.
That's fun.
If that's not art, I don't know what is, Colin.
Chainsaw control.
Which will be the feature of my next game show.
That'd be fun. Anyway.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess for myself, I mean, my main complaint currently is just the Switch Online app is limited to certain games. It seems a weird system after a paid online service, how you're only giving these features to certain games, and I think that's kind of the main concern. Not specifically the app, but that these online features are limited to certain games, and it's not just like you can just trust that all these features will work across all online games.
Right.
And it's not just this simple message like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network seem to be. It's very much understood what you get, and you don't have to do any checking when you're picking up a game, whether it's going to support features.
The thing I don't like, more or less anything else, is the name. I think the name is fairly weak.
It's a very cumbersome name. What, Nintendo Switch Online?
You look at PlayStation Plus, you look at Xbox Live, they encompass a brand.
Not a console.
Not a console.
Would you say
Nintendo Switch Online is exclusively for the Switch? And I part of me wishes I would have preferred if they just kept it to like Nintendo Network and called it
that was one
Nintendo
I
Network
know.
Plus or something. But whatever. I don't like console specific branding of this service.
I completely agree, and I like that's exacerbated even further with the name of the app which runs the NES games. Like, I've not once said it correctly because it's such a cumbersome name.
It is very...
Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly the name, and it doesn't even sound.
Wow.
Yeah, it is Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online is the name of that thing with all those NES games in it. It doesn't make any sense.
The app. It's ridiculous.
Just call it Netflix. I know you got to get through some legal.
That is a perfect name though. That's so good.
I know you got to go through some legal loopholes and such, but hey.
Well, just call it like NES Classics, or
whatever. It's just.
I'm sure somebody out in the internet, probably our listeners, is like, why can't it just be called Virtual Console? I'm like, just stop, just quiet down. It's dead. It's dead.
I wouldn't mind if it was called Virtual Console again.
Yeah, I mean, but it's. I think they want when they had to get a fresh start on. Nintendo's very weird with how they want to license it, just their classic library out. They want to get it to right because obviously the system where it's like, hey, I shouldn't be playing It's like when we were discussing essentially with piracy and ROMs. It's like, at one point, do you think when the original Super Mario Brothers is going to become like public domain? Right. When would that be the case? But in here, it's this is them trying to get the fresh start of like, okay, let's just give everybody like the NES games here available at their disposal, and then we'll figure out what we can do in terms of drip feed. My idea of like getting games out probably onto the service. New games come each month. The Netflix model. I think that would work.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've all discussed like what we like and don't like about the service as it stands now. We've already talked a little bit about what we'd like to see in the future from this service, more so on the classic game front. So more as a bit of an overview, how would we like to see the service change, or how would we like people to think of the service, say this time next year or in a couple of years' time, compared to where we are now?
The way at $20, it's essentially you get what you get what you paid for here. That's
Right.
what you are with it. Now, the lead up to this, when we found out that games like Splatoon 2 or even Fortnite, like games like that, or even upcoming Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu editions aren't going to support cloud saves, that was a huge bummer to a point where
Right.
like I can't support this. Now, I'd be less miffed if in some way Nintendo found a way where I could back up my saves locally, like to a thumb drive or something like that. I mean, there's a USB drive onto, well, the dock itself.
Yep.
There has to be some way to do that. I know I'm probably missing something that I feel like is just not going against it. But at $20, I understand there's people out there like kids, especially, don't have jobs. I know there's like, and you get parents who have budgets and stuff. For me, with a job and things like this, it's like, okay, $20 here, take that to a year. It's whatever. Now, if this was $50 and this is what I was getting, yeah, I probably would be hesitant not to.
Again, I would agree. Yes, if it was more expensive than what it is, I would be very hesitant to sign up.
Yeah, because the main reason why I signed up for $20 a year is like I'm saving. I want my saves to be safe. That's it. Because
the same thing was for me. It was like, oh, I could play more Storms Online. I'm actually kind of regretting it now because again, the player base has been like divided by like half, I would say. Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping people come back into it. Yeah, the cloud saves thing. I mean, I will back up some of my stuff to the saves to the cloud just in case. But I assume by saving files locally, that'd be so much more helpful.
Mm-hmm.
A much nicer solution.
And I think one of my last things I want to say to like what as far as improvements is that at $20, maybe at some point there has to be like another tier, like, okay, like, hey, here's $20 where this is what you get. Now for $40, you get more of this or something of that. Or
I substantial to double the price.
Yeah, I don't know. I could easily see something where
your Super Nintendo and your Nintendo games.
Yeah, I don't think GameCube games are coming to that because I feel like I mentioned online a bit that game. Yeah, it's just GameCube games are more ripe for HD remasters. I feel like that's where it gets to it. So, Mario Sunshine, what?
Fire Emblem, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like listing their GameCube games they want to see those remasters of.
Yeah.
Well, Mario Sunshine has to be up on there, please. I would like a HD remaster of that. So.
I feel like Fire Emblem has to be there. Has to be. You can't just buy.
Put them all on the 3DS.
Not on GameCube.
Yeah, put them all on the 3DS. That'll make people happy.
Okay, years of support. Yeah, put all the GameCube games onto the 3DS.
There was a but no. I hope as far as improvements though is that more stable connections, because I feel like more and more people are popping up that are having really problems with their connections, especially in Splatoon and ARMS. So I just really hope with this money that's coming in for your keeping servers, you are able to improve on this Nintendo. I mean, I may not have the biggest hope of it, but please, that would help. Yes, improvements to the app. I mean, it's gone from down here and low on the ground to basically just right up to my knees. So it's like, okay, you're getting there. You're getting there in terms of being okay. Yes, that. But I would like to see things like I mentioned there, like I'm able to access friends lists and things like that. Something that other companies' apps are able to do. And I know Nintendo wants to be different. I get that with it being with this industry, but things like that have to be like common sense. Other than that, my final thing I want to say is that just more features. Really, I'm trying to think of do it. I mean, I know you have something special with the special feature, the special offers stuff. But aside from, hey, here's some NES controllers that only subscribers can get, right. I want something where it's like, hey, I get a bonus for preloading, like say Smash Brothers. Hey, you get it $10 off since you are part of this. I'm like, I would totally get that.
You get more gold coins in the eShop to put towards our purchases or something like that. Something that gives you value back. Again, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think Harrison's covered pretty much everything I was going to say. Overall, I feel like the system's got off to a good start. There are areas to improve, For me, the transition was flawless, but I've heard of, as Harrison mentioned, ARMS, Splatoon. There are some rough patches, but yeah, I'm very happy with it so far.
I'm my feelings toward it's like it's just there and like at $20, this is what I'm getting. That's really, I mean, I'm not like over the moon, like, oh, this is a success. More, I'm like, it's what you would expect out of Nintendo right away.
There's some quirkiness to it. That's when you know it comes from Nintendo.
Yeah. Of course, that's the only reason it's got a smartphone app. So to remind you, it's different in Nintendo.
It's an unnecessary step.
So, Holly, where would you like to see the service go in the future? What would you like to see improved?
Well, I just pre-ordered the NES controllers just before the show, actually.
Oh.
And I thought to myself, like, maybe Nintendo could implement some almost Club Nintendo-like qualities to it. Yeah, where they give you access to, or at least early access to physical goodies, free or otherwise, if they're more, intense. One cool thing, you can only pre-order those controllers if you're a member of the online service. And so it would be really, and I've been thinking this for years, like if Nintendo can kind of get Amiibo back on its feet, make it so that online members, because we're so dedicated to Nintendo, we love you so much, Nintendo, that we're paying for this online service that there's so much negativity about. Let us have first access to those dang Amiibos. And I will start buying them again.
And that's interesting because, like, I'm not sure it's been official of any means, but I'm sure it's been a common sentiment that, part of the reason they're doing it to Nintendo Switch members is to stop scalpers from buying them all up as they have Amiibos. If only Nintendo Switch members can buy them, and in theory they're the only people who need them because that's where the games are, then only legitimate people will be buying them. So
I think the service,
I could see them doing it with certain Amiibo, like selling it first at least.
Yeah, but I think
or exclusive ones.
The service is too low cost to stop scalpers from not just buying access to the service and then buying the Amiibos anyway.
True, but I think it relies on like one person having like lots of terminals, as it were, to try and buy. Whereas that might be limited then to like it's still per account.
Who cares if the scalpers are still there, as long as the loyal fans who are not scalpers get their chance. Like, I don't care if the scalpers are still out there doing their dirty work.
Wait, they're still scalpers.
I can get my dang Amiibo.
Oh yeah, I feel like the Amiibo boom, as far as like that pop. I mean, you're still getting people who get them, but it's not like, here's like a Ridley Amiibo that just popped up for me, whatever. I'm not going to worry too much. I mean, it's not like, I get onto the site and it just crashes. I mean, it's...
Next time you check, it's going to be sold out.
Well, I already pre-ordered mine right away.
There we go. It's died down completely.
Well, not died out. It's like I'm not worrisome about basically trying to get my hands on one. I mean...
That's because you pre-ordered it already.
Yeah. But I not at that moment though. The link was like 3 hours long. I was like, oh, okay, there we go. Click, save. And my Guardian Amiibo there, I got that about 6 or 7 months afterwards. I was thinking I was never gonna find one of those, and I found one. I was happy.
That's good to
hear. At this point, there are a lot of people who don't care about it anymore because it was such a hassle trying to get what they wanted. But it's not exclusive. It's not exclusive to Amiibo. It's just, something kind of Club Nintendo-esque where you have some access to some physical cool stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can integrate it into my Nintendo somehow, too. So
that sounds too convenient for Nintendo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I imagine we're going to get something of that ilk because, like, they're starting this off with the NES controllers. There's that whole space for offers, at least. It doesn't specifically say digital offers.
Yes.
And so I imagine we'll get something along these lines. So yeah, it really does depend just how often they kind of they do update those offers, like whether there'll be long periods of time where there's just no offers, or it's just taking a while, and then there will be like this rotation set. Whether it's like, as Colin was saying, we'll get you like bonus gold currency when you pre-order things or buy things, which in turn lets you get further discounts. That sort of stuff I can easily see be like regular on there. I think personally for me, what I'd like to see improved, I've talked already beyond just having all the main features just be available for all the games. Yes, there's hurdles. There's like reasons why Nintendo has decided not to do that, but I think they should, if they're not already, they should be developing reasons around those issues. But I guess more importantly, to make it as an actual like added bonus, opposed to just trying to replicate what the other guys are doing. So if you go into the Switch Online app currently, and it's the same as it's been for its beta, there's a hub for Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
And there's no other hubs. But the Splatoon 2 hub is really cool if you're into Splatoon 2. There's loads of detail about the game, lots of stats. It's nicely done. It doesn't just look like boring like numbers and such, and it feels like it's in the style of the game. You can even like buy items of in-game currency, and it'll be delivered in-game. And there's lots of cool things. You can dig in lots of stats which you can't even see in the game. I would just like to see more of that. Bring it in for games which have already come out, things like Mario Kart and ARMS and Mario Tennis. Make hubs for all of those games. Any big online game you have from here on out has a really cool hub to it. And then let users be able to follow them or not, so they don't have to see ones they're not interested in, and they can only need to see the ones they are. But I think that could then like give it a nice like benefit factor of it being the app in the first place. If it can give you access to information which you generally weren't getting in the game, and it's useful and it's presented nicely, I think it will give you a reason to have that app installed, have it at hand, and hopefully it will be a less of a hurdle for people to then use that for voice chat and for other things. But yeah, I'm really impressed with that Splatoon app, and so I really hope, say, for Smash Bros, they go full out. Ooh. And it's got so much information in there. Because that could be, might sound silly, but that could be loads of fun. Like digging through like a particular battle, seeing the replay for it, seeing all the statistics and everything else.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah, it would be cool. So yeah,
one thing I did, this is one thing I forgot to say. I mentioned that I liked during the service that during when you're playing NES games online with another friend, you have a little cursor there with a little glove, and I really like it where you can actually, if somebody does something a good job, you can have it clap. Like or even point out to directions like, hey, go here or something like that. It's a nice little touch to it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, yeah, I've yet to try any of that. It's a very Nintendo-like feature, isn't it?
Very Nintendo-like, but also very Nintendo-like for them to not realize that people control with it and cover up your pills in Mario.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Mario
there was
and stuff like that.
Friend, that's when you realize your friend.
I just heard about that.
Well,
that's what the same company makes Four Swords, so I can't.
Yeah.
Well,
they know.
Well, say with people covering up things and important information, that's when you find out who your true friends are.
Ooh. And also, I think there's an entire mode in WarioWare where like that's part of the game where someone's just playing micro games and someone else just plays as Wario trying to cover up parts of the screen to stop them having a good time. So Nintendo knows what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
I think this is nearing the end of our Switch Online discussion. Before I do, not to be rude, has anyone got any burning ideas or just things about online in general which we've not mentioned I'd like to talk about?
No.
It doesn't have to be. I'm just checking. I think the last couple of times I tried to end a feature, there's been these burning points I wasn't aware of. All right, now I think we're covered then. Cool. All right, so that has been our Switch Online discussion. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts. You can email us hello@nintendovoice.com or over on Twitter simply @nintendovoice. So before we go, like we do at the end of every show, we'll go around each of us and let you know how you can get hold of us if you fancy.
Do we have content provider to do?
We do have a little bit of content provider.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that.
Thank you for the hint. So before that, Holly won content provider this week. So you currently have a point. So thank you, Colin. The way this works, though, you have a chance to double this point. Either way, you have to give your point or points away to either Colin or Harrison. Would you like to double your point? Or try to at least? If you fail, so you get an extra question. If you get it correct, you get that point doubled. If you get it incorrect, the house, which is myself, will get those points.
I'm not gonna go for the double.
No,
Besides,
okay. So who are you giving your point to?
How do you get?
Oh,
I don't know. Well, my first thing is that, like, how would I double with this particular thing? Like, would I have to get right on the money with another one of your?
Oh, I see.
That's a fair point.
Playing
I have thought of this. Okay,
that would be way too hard.
It wouldn't be exact. I would say a number you would have to get within, whether it was say 25 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours, depending on like what sort of numbers we're talking about. And if you were inside, you would get it right. If you weren't, you wouldn't.
I think the odds pretty good.
I'm gonna stick with the 1 point then,
Stick with the 1
especially
point,
since
okay.
it's not even my point. I have to give it away. So.
You'll be responsible. That's
Responsible point usage.
exactly. But who deserves this point?
Oh,
You can give it to the house. It's not. Something against it.
You just want me to give it to you?
Don't give it to the house.
I'm
House
gonna
is
say just because Colin got second place, so Colin can take it.
Colin gets the point.
Sorry, Harrison.
You are banned from the you are banned from the show.
You do not.
Okay.
You don't have that power, Harrison.
I kid. You know,
What are the points at right now between you two?
Well,
Really?
this is the first episode of season 2, so the points have been leveled again. So Harrison won the last season of the last 4 episodes, and so the bonus episode we yet to record, but recording soon, is Harrison's idea. It's under his control, and it sounds like it's going to be a very non-Nintendo themed episode.
Basically, I need all the points I can get, so thank you very much.
Yes, that's the short version.
Another reason for it to go to Colin.
Okay. So, thank you for the reminder, Colin. So let's wrap up now. Harrison, how can the fine folks off the internet get hold of you?
Yes, you can reach me at Twitter at @Milfeld, and I swear if you all, and yes, I tried doing that, everybody's going to be sending all their frequent Bowsette art. So I am just going to turn off.
What it is. I don't know what it is.
I'm gonna send you an article right now with it right now. So here it is.
Okay.
No, get ready. So they're gonna do that. There's so much stuff to it. So yeah, enjoy, Colin. Enjoy your nightmares.
Whilst looking at that, where can people get hold of you and anything you've been up to?
So you can find me on Twitter at Heidi and Bard, which is how you think it's spelled. Anything about to? Yeah, streams. I do streams on Twitch, twitch.tv/the Heidi and Bard. There we go. I'm going to look at this article and see what the horror awaits.
Horror awaits. And yourself, Holly.
You can find me at Twitter, or on Twitter at Lil Red Koopa, LIL Red Koopa. And I'm looking at Colin's face. It's pretty humorous. I still haven't put my Switch friend code up at the top, like as a pin or in the.
Colin's face is just so great.
Changing expressions.
You gotta make a noise, Colin. People can see you.
What am I even looking at?
I just want to confirm he is still looking. Like,
Take a look.
It wasn't the immediate.
But after the show.
This is a thorough investigation going on currently.
Please include, aside from Switch Online in the YouTube thumbnail, please include Bowsette. Just.
Well, there we go.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Colin? Before I wrap up.
If I had to say one word, bizarre.
Bizarre. Okay, that's it. No more words. For myself, if you want to get hold of me, best place is Twitter at Luvision, LEUVSION. And of course, you can follow us all at Nintendo Voice. Feel free to ask us any questions. And if you want to check out and support the show, if you head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. And that's going to do it for today's show. So thanks once again for listening and for watching. And this has been Nintendo Voice.
See you later.
Take care, everybody.